King Thor issue 2 sees Gorr confronted by the shocked Thor, who doesn't understand how he is still alive, since the planet the God Butcher died on was thrown into a black hole. Gorr says that he died with All Black the Necrosword, which didn't let him go, so when the weapon returned, so did he. He stabs Thor, asking if he knows what he is doing all this time in the Necro prison. The villain reveals that they were smiling, knowing that he got peace in a world without gods. Thor is strung up by the villain as he demands to know why he was ripped from his peace, and he knows the Necrosword needs a will to power it, the will of Loki, whom he wants to know what lies he has for him today. Loki says that he has something else, offering him the Necrosword stone, so the Butcher can finish his work. As Thor is continuously tortured by the power, Gorr tells Loki it's difficult to work as a butcher, but Loki wants to compare body counts later, offering the power back to Gorr, but the villain already has it, trapping Loki in it as well, and asking if Thor wants to know why Loki brought him back. Gorr says that despite working towards killing Thor for eons, Loki wasn't sure he could go through with it, since he's still a frightened child on the inside. Gorr wonders if Thor is the god of thunder still, and Thor shows that he is, releasing a torrent of lightning from his mouth. Freeing himself, Thor tells Loki that they can beat the God Butcher together, but Loki however won't free himself, since Gorr was lying and that wasn't why he was brought back. Thor has had enough, summoning his hammer to him, but the hammer detours through the burning Asgard, returning with a much needed ally, his sword. Thor again tries to get Loki to join him in killing the God Butcher, but if he doesn't, either way he's going to stop him and then come for Loki. Thor takes off as Gorr unleashes the All Black as Thor arrives, learning that he has summoned the Necrosword. Gorr says that he spent all the time trying to murder gods, when all he needed to do was wait and let them die off on their own, and now all he needs to do is murder Thor. Light years away, the granddaughters of Thor battle the Necro Ravens, finishing them off as Frigg says that they need to get back to Thor, since there is nothing in the book that Ellie was given that can help them. Ellie isn't so sure, asking her sister if she remembers how this whole saga begun. The sisters think it begun with the God Butcher or Jane Foster, but Ellie reveals that it begun with a prayer as they head down to the planet. Loki meanwhile is prayed to by some tribesmen left on the planet, but tells the boy no one is there to hear his prayers, for the heavens have been raised and no one awaits them, so they need to leave him be as Armageddon comes for the world. Gorr's blade pierces the planet, carving it up completely, as Thor says that he had to lead Gorr away from Midgard, and this galaxy has 3 suns, and if he can't save them, then he will use them. Winding up Mjolnir, he begins pulling one of the suns, throwing it at Gorr, saying that he will build something better from the ashes, something that doesn't include Gorr. The villain survives, however, saying that he likes the sound of what Thor proposes, but he's always made the same mistakes in expecting humans to evolve past gods, but in taking gods he has left mortals weak and tainted, and wonders if Thor thinks that maybe he's their savior. Thor is choked by the bones and bodies of the dead from the planet that Gorr throws at him, as the villain says that him and the gods have made a charnel house out of all creation, and the bones represent lives that they could not save, all because he's going to butcher every man, woman and child, first here and then on Earth, and Thor is only going to have to watch. Thor manages to break free of the necro power, but is treated to a thrashing by Gorr, as the villain says that he will create a new self-sufficient life that doesn't need God's guidance or thought of life beyond the one they see with their own mortal eyes. It will repeat all of what Thor has ever been and will be, and further proof that the God Butcher was right. Suddenly Loki arrives, strangling the God Butcher with a rope and telling him that he didn't bring him there to slay Thor, since Loki has been butchering gods since long before Gorr was even alive, and no caveman with a magic rock is going to steal his birthright. Loki has his arms cut off by the Butcher, but says after Thor there is one left he cannot kill, himself. Loki is swallowed up by the blackness as Thor smashes Gorr with Mjolnir, but Loki says that Gorr was right. He was to kill Thor and Gorr was to kill him, but he seemed to have mixed up that order. Thor wants to stop him together, but Loki reminds him that they aren't much against the Butcher. Thor says that they still have 2 arms, 1 eye and 1 hammer between them, but Loki still has his mind, so how can he use that to beat him? Loki tells him that they don't, since this is the part they die in, and the worst thing is he won't be able to see Thor die thanks to having no eyes. Gorr returns and swallows up Thor and Loki in the darkness, saying gods might walk on water, but Gorr is the sea, and the sea is tired of being trodden on. The brothers fall into the blackness, and neither of them can hold hold it back. Knowing that they are gone, Thor tells his brother that he lied about Freya giving up hope, and she always held out that Loki would one day save them all. Thor tries to reach out for his brother but cannot, saying sorry to his mother that he failed her as the brothers are taken deeper into the blackness. King Thor issue 2 was a long and winding rollercoaster of action and drama as Thor and Loki are seemingly killed by the newly resurrected Gorr the God Butcher. I absolutely love that Gorr is back, and this time he's not taking anyone's shit and has a new plan to deal with the remaining gods. This issue had loads of dialogue, and usually I'd see that as kind of a detriment since it can also clog up the pages, and a lot of the times writers usually say more than what they need to. But all the dialogue here was so damn good, especially Gorr's vengeance-seeped monologues. It's a fantastic read. It's all very exciting, and I'm very much looking forward to the next issue and what exactly has happened to Thor and Loki. I'm going to give this issue a 10 out of 10.